What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the Uncommon Mindset podcast. Today, I'm joined by a very, very special guest. Today, I'm joined by Braulio Estima. I'll just give you a brief background on who Braulio is. Braulio is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, world champion, and an ADCC open weight and super fight champion, considered by most one of the top Jiu-Jitsu competitors of the 2000s era. Braulio Estima collected trophies throughout his grappling career, both as a fighter and as an instructor. In recent years, Braulio has slowed down on his competitive appearance and is now one of the best coaches around. He's also the older brother of another great Jiu-Jitsu talent, Victor Estima. What an absolute honor it is to have you on the podcast today, Braulio.
Thank you, Murat. It's missing something there, man. How about the modeling career that I've been on it?
Oh, sorry, I forgot about that.
We're gonna be busy. Hey, they're not talking about your new career.
Oh, that's brilliant,
man. Yeah. It's a pleasure to be here, Murat. It's always an honor. I like to try to use my journey as an example to show to people that's always possible according to how you put your mind towards it.
Of course, yeah, 100%. I think a great place to start, Braulio, would be to take it all the way back. I know that obviously you started judo at the age of 9, and then something happened to your instructor, which you can talk about. Just talk to me about like when you actually started, combat sport, why jiu-jitsu, and what did that whole process look like?
At first, Murat, I started. My dad did judo back in the day, right? So he had this experience. I think my dad, out of the whole, both of my families, mom and dad's sides and previous, he was the first one to actually experience judo. He went to orange belt and he stopped, but he understood then the importance of martial arts for all of us, right? I was always a very hyper kid, and then now I understand why he put me there, because I have a very hyper kid too. So hey, you stop, you go to jiu-jitsu, But I started judo. That was first thing, because that was the reference my dad did. And I was 9 years old, and I've always been very competitive, and then it was a good way to kind of channel my hyper energy, and then it was really good. I made amazing friends through that. And unfortunately, one of my professor at the time, he passed away on an accident. And, I remember after training 2 years, by training these 2 years, I managed to go to fight the main tournaments, losing in the finals, never become a state champion or anything, but I felt that's something that I could do. And funny enough, I remember that I was skipping some of the grades. Like I got to orange belt and I was skipping the green belt for a while on purpose, because I knew that if once you get the green belt, chokes were allowed, and I was scared of it. Look, so how the things goes around, right? It's crazy. And after he passed away, and then I stopped judo, I lost a little bit of motivation. My parents didn't have money to bring me because I was training at school, like after school activities, and then my parents couldn't afford to bring me to the main academy, main dojo for judo. So I started just doing football within the after school as well. With that, time passes, I tried to go through football. I wasn't horrible, but I wasn't amazing. I was just like on the hope, and I had put on my mind a target. I'm not a target, but a time. If I by 15 I haven't been scouted, I'm gonna have to change something, because I always wanted to be a sportsman. So by 15, I was okay, but now no connections. I lost a little bit of drive on the collective sports, because, football, if you giving your best, because I was being taken really serious. Everything that I did, I was took serious because I want to be someone with it. But not if the whole team don't give all what they can, you don't necessarily going to go through the stages so you can be seen. So, my team wasn't the best. I was giving my best, blah, blah, blah. So I got demotivated because I saw people who were clearly lower level than me going through. And a lot of people that was clear much better than me, not going through because they didn't have connections. I didn't have connections. The guy is clearly better than me. He's not having connections. He's not going. How can I go? I cannot go in front of him if I have no connection. So the guy, and I lost a little bit of motivations. Therefore, I decided to go back to judo. I was following the Olympics. I wanted to, go back to the point that, what, one of the main reasons that I got demotivated was because I was giving my best, but it wasn't only depending on my best. That was the result. So I decided, what, I'm going to go back to do judo because, dude, if I give my best and lose, I'm happy because at least I know it couldn't be anything different. But if I do my best and I win, then I have a little bit more control of the outcome. So I started training judo, and then one of my best friends that I met through judo when I was 9 years old, when I was 16, he decided to do jiu-jitsu. And then we met, and he mentioned about, man, let's train jiu-jitsu. I said, no, I don't like to do MMA and stuff. No, jiu-jitsu is like judo, but on the ground. I said, oh, wait, really? I want to do judo. I'll go and check it out. I went and check it out. It was pretty much what we know what jiu-jitsu is. And I started using train jiu-jitsu to help my judo because that was my main goal at the time. Mm-hmm. And I fell in love with it, with everything about it. And then I started feeling that wave of jiu-jitsu coming strong. And I decided to train judo to help jiu-jitsu in the end. And then that was the transition. And then I was scared to get the green belt at judo. So I was afraid of chokes. Yeah. And I became specialized on those kind of stuff. So crazy how things goes around. But that's a little bit of the beginning of the story.
No, that's incredible. Yeah. When did you know that like jiu-jitsu is what you actually want to do? Because back in the days, right, jiu-jitsu wasn't that big, was it? It wasn't as big as it is now. Let's say, for example, you went to your parents and you said, look, I want to do jiu-jitsu full time. Like, how did they take that? What did that look like?
It was a little bit of a challenge, but well, it's a very cool story because the reason that I trained jiu-jitsu wasn't nothing linked to money whatsoever. If it was, I would be like the McGregor kind of guy. I want to, man, let's do this like the Gordon Ryan kind of guy, because they very focused on that. They're good at jiu-jitsu, they're good, but wasn't my my priority. It was mainly for me was doing something that I feel satisfied and happy doing it. Yeah. And I've always admired the idea of being an athlete. It's like the effort that you put into it, the mindset. Mm-hmm. I was fortunate enough to follow from the TV, mm-hmm. the mindset of people who made a very big impact on the sports back in Brazil. People like Ayrton Senna, people like Pelé. Those guys, they had something different, and that attracted my like, and I wanted to be that inspires me, like through judo, there was Aurelio Miguel, which was like a medalist of the Olympics when I was in the transition time for deciding what I want to do. And I've always find fascinating to be an athlete. Mm-hmm. And not necessarily because I've always been very hyper, not necessarily did very good in school. I did okay, just average, above average, like 7, out of 10. But it wasn't something that I didn't like to waste my time doing something that I would never going to do. I didn't like that, waste my time here doing something for the sake of someone asking me to do, but not something that interests me. And then I'd rather be, of course, I'm talking about in a specialized, right? Like going to university and all that. So I did production engineering for 3.5 years of the process. And I never quite enjoyed it that way as much as I wish I could do jiu-jitsu. And I was always on my mind since when I put the target of by 15, if someone doesn't scout me for football, I need to change something. I always thought that I didn't want to regret. I actually, funny enough, because I remember saying then, I don't want to be 40 years old now. I didn't want to be now and regret for not carry on doing something. And if I did, I wouldn't be a happy person. you know, because I think there's a lot more than just, you know, do the sport. I think that was something of a part of my mission and purpose in my life, and that made me this be possible. And I fell in love. The reason that I fell in love with the jiu-jitsu, that even changed my mind from judo to jiu-jitsu, was that I felt that this art has something very unique, because I felt that someone, I remember going home, when training, someone smaller than me could control me. I said, how the heck, man, this guy, I used to go back that trainer. His name is Fred. I actually get in touch with him as well. Can't wait to pay back. He was 60 kilograms. Dude, that guy tapped me 6 times every round. I never had the opportunity to pay back because he stopped training. Fred, I want to get you back, mate. Now, he was one of the main reasons that I carried on, because listen, if he can do it, why can't I? So I need to know as well. I need to find, I want to learn that. You know, and he was Gracie Barra. And then he was a Brazilian champ at the time. So he stopped training jiu-jitsu. Probably because he started too soon with, you know, and I started when I was 16, so I wanted to follow that. And I felt that wave coming, and I felt that because I was very lanky and skinny, the judo, I felt that I was too tall, and I to be honest, my mind now changes. Like I could carry on, but on my mind, I thought, no, the guy stocky than me can go underneath of my hips, can throw me. I found difficult, the guy shorter than me and stuff. So then I start, the jiu-jitsu fell into like a glove on me, because I was long legs, long arms, and I can fight from my back. So that things, you know, and as it was something new in my mind, man, I can be good at it, and I can be a good reference, you know, to be at least good in the state. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to be good in something, you know. Never expect I was going to go that far. I never aimed, neither. I never expect. I just tried to be better than myself all the time. And then my first goal, I remember that I wanted to be the best white belt in my division in my academy. Then I wanted to be the best white belt in my academy. Then I wanted to be the best white belt in the area, and then in the state, and then I got the blue belt, and I wanted to do the same thing. Now go back to the beginning. Back first, the blue belt in my category in the academy, then the best in the academy, then the best in my state. Then I wanted to be the best in the region, then the best in Brazil, and then purple belt. Boom, I get it. It becomes like that cycle. I was aiming always some set goals that I could see the possibility, and then if I didn't see it, I could readjust, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was my fascination of you know. I grew up with watching blood sports and this kind of movies that always got inspired. Somehow I just watch and I get like, oh man, the urge, let's go play, me and my brother, let's fight. And I want to be that guy. I want to be that humble guy that some bully come and talk to me and say, hey, you, if I can, if I would, I could, I just gonna, you know, be the bigger person with the humbleness and respect. That's always attracted me. So that's why I am like, I feel like that's how I end up being that humble guy, that to prove to people that if you are good in something, doesn't mean that you are a better person than anybody. You're just doing something right. And I'm just happy that I do what I love. And I think this shines through. And when you have that and you become more passionate, you can go always a little notch more than if someone doesn't have the passion, because you do anyway. I never chose jiu-jitsu for money whatsoever. You know, and that's one of my main reasons I came to UK, because I wanted make a living out of jiu-jitsu as possible, but never to be rich in jiu-jitsu. And it's fine. If you try to be rich in jiu-jitsu, you chose the wrong sport, unless if you go through Gordon Rice style. But one of the things that I decided, I talked to my dad about when I was production engineer. I'm the first of the Bow family to decide not to go academic way. My mom family is the law. Everyone was lawyers, prosecutors, and judge. My granddad was a judge, very well respected. He actually, his name is he's called immortal. His name is on the literature. How you call it? Literature. His name is on the literature history of my region.
Wow.
My granddad. So that's how restrict you must expect they will.
Yeah.
My granddad was a dentist, my auntie, my uncle, and my dad is a dentist, and then me, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I said, what are you doing, man? But then I said, before I chose to come to UK to try out, I spoke to my dad. And then he asked, bro, listen, Jiu-Jitsu, there's no money. What are you going to do that? I said, listen, look, I really like what I'm doing. By this time, I was already a brown belt. I was Pan America champion as a blue belt and a purple belt, not as a brown belt yet. And then I just wanted to give it a go. I paused my university during the summer break. And then I came to UK to try. But then my dad was already feeling that we'll choose that instead, right? So he asked me, you sure? Are you sure? And then I came to him and said, listen, Dad, I love what I do, and then I want to give it a go. And if you get the best person in anything in the world, they find. I mean, like the best person that does the best in anything. Let's say I'm looking here. Okay, the best boomerang guy that makes boomerang. If you get the best in the world, he's fine. Yeah. He doesn't need to be a production engineer to be able to be fine, right? He doesn't need to have a degree. If you get the best gardener in the world, he's fine. Maybe John across the road, that's the gardener from our street, he might not be fine, but if you get the best one, he's fine. And that's what the mentality that I had. And I was grown up enough that I knew that if I focused 100% on what I love to do, and I knew that life already has ups and downs. You succeed, you lose, but what keeps you going is your determination and willpower. And it's much easier to have a willpower to carry on doing something that you love and have passion than do something that you have to do. And therefore, if I knew that I have the passion and I have a little bit of the direction, I knew I was on the right spot, talking to, Master Carlos Gracie Jr. Every time he saw me, he used to give me all his good advice. And I said, listen, I'm on the track, And then once he told me when I was 17, he said, listen, carry on, mate. There's something about you. I never told that until I was black belt, right? And that's one of my drive. And here I am. And once again, it's proof that's true, And my dad, when I told that to him, he said, "You're ready." He got like eyes full of water, and said, "You're ready to go," because he knew I was decided, and I had a good argument, and it's an honest argument. And life goes around, and things are going, and I came, and Victor came through me, My life is a crazy stuff. It's so interesting, so many coincidences. It's crazy when you stop to think. Like, for example, if my dad didn't put me to judo, right? If my dad didn't give all those values that he taught me in life, and I started training judo and then football and then back to judo, ended up in jiu-jitsu with my friend from judo that my dad, you know what I mean? And then my first trip to Rio, because we were Gracie Barra at the time, first time to Rio, my professor was Charles dos Anjos at the time. He's in Florida now. We went to Rio. Carlos Gracie goes say, "There's something about you." I lost my first fight. First fight I lost, And he goes, "There's something about you, man. Listen, go back, train, choose the right people to hang out with. Don't go on the drugs, be careful." Exactly what my dad always told me. I said, "Man, this is good mindset. I like that. I associate myself with that." And he's Gracie, the first Gracie that I ever met. And he told me that I'm on the right path. Dude, what else do I need? Boom. And then if it wasn't for my dad bringing to judo, my friend bringing to jiu-jitsu, me going to Rio, met Carlos Gracie at that time, 17 years old, I wouldn't be here. And then by being here, my brother came here. And then guess what? Now my brother, it's one of the most important directors of the Gracie Barra world, and he's specialized in one of them. He's a director in UK and Europe. And due to Brexit, my dad now has quit dentistry because he came to live close to us. Was doing Uber Eats the other day.
No way.
My dad.
Yeah.
So he can be close to us. Now, due to Brexit, Victor is moving, have to open the GB where in Europe, in Portugal, need to have a base. So we chose Portugal. So my mom and dad is in Portugal,
Wow.
right? Victor is moving there to Portugal, just 2 minutes, two hours and a half away from us. So I feel like things had the beginning and it starts about to kind of, it just shows that whatever decisions we've been going through with the idea, not selfishness, but to try to, because the main reason I came here was to be able to live off my sport, but at the same time spread the positivity. What jiu-jitsu made a big difference for me in my life. Yeah. Changed me. But the jiu-jitsu changed my brother, you know, and my brother come here, he changed, and then now I inspired him in a way, and now he inspired me in a completely different way, and combined is incredible. And now jiu-jitsu changed the life of everyone who we've been through here in the UK, in Europe, you know, and including my mom and dad. And it just comes to right to say, to honestly, to prove that, you know, what Carlos Gracie Sr. always imagined or thought, that if everyone in the world did jiu-jitsu, the world would be a much better place to live. And then, man, we are making a huge movement, and jiu-jitsu come through now, MMA being on the hotline for a while, one of the most fast-growing martial arts in the whole world, making amazing positivity, a positive change. And when you do those things without expectations, you know, it's just beautiful when you appreciate, you know, and when you appreciate, and that's two things that I've always noticed, you know, in any relationship through jiu-jitsu, the more you appreciate, and if you give back, if you're always going to connect with people who appreciates and give back, it's just a never-ending growth of positivity. And that's what you know, that's when it's always good for, I mean, people around me, I'm always good. It's sunny, it's happy, it's cloudy, it's a good day. It's always a good day.
100%, yeah. And you mentioned so many things, and you know, the things that stood out to me was, obviously, you know, you're an instructor now as well, and you provide so much value for other people. It's incredible. Like, you've definitely made jiu-jitsu what it is now in the UK, in Europe. You know, everyone talks about, when people talk about the best of the best, you know, it's your name, it's Roger Gracie, Marcelo Garcia, you know, all these people. I was listening to Joe Rogan and John Danaher the other day, and they mentioned you, you know, they mentioned you because of the style that you have in jiu-jitsu. You're so aggressive, you know, you always go for the sub, and it's incredible. Like, it's such an honor just for me to just talk to you right now, honestly. And my head coach, Chris Reese, and Ash Williams.
Yeah, Chris, it's one of my students.
Yeah, it's one of your students, which is crazy. Like, this is incredible.
Listen, look, again, another coincidence or not, depends how you see it, right? If it wasn't for Mauricio Gomez, right? He came to open up. The first school that he opened was here in Birmingham. The first school in the whole Europe, back in the beginning of the 90s or 80s. I don't even remember. Roger was my toughest training partner since Blue Belt. When I met him first class, we always clicked because we were training hard against each other, right? So I made so many good friends out there. And Roger, we became friends. I never even knew he was Gracie. I found out that later, right? And then, in fact, actually, when I met him, he just had it's the first, in Blue Belt, it was the only time that he lost by submission was in Blue Belt. And he got a footlock. I met him when he had a cast. Wow. So that's when I met him for the first time. And then we became good friends. And then, you know, we keep going back and forth to Rio, and I got to see him, learn a lot from him, and we help each other. You know, we complement a lot each other. I think I was the hardest one from the bottom for him, and he was the hardest one on the top for me. You know, so we kind of pushed each other. And I knew that he was coming to UK, to England, right? I don't even knew what UK was back then. And everyone mentioned back in Recife, oh man, back in Rio, what Rogers go down the cold place? Well, I cannot believe. And then we go by, he goes, come back. And then years goes by, that the opportunity happened for me to come to the UK. And I said, okay, my dad said it's okay for me to go. Mm-hmm. So who do I know about jiu-jitsu in the UK? I go, hold on a second. I think Roger is in UK, is in England. Okay, I'm going to call him. I call Roger. Hey, Roger, I said, hey, Braulio, man, what's up? Carcará, blah, 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 what's up? I said, listen, I'm going to UK, to England next week. You go, you have connection in UK, don't you? He goes, Braulio, I am boarding right now to London. It's crazy, bro. Murat, it's crazy how it goes. It's crazy. If you put into, it's crazy, right? And then he got me a hat, and then he goes to me, Braulio, look, I wish I could put you to teach here with me, but I cannot do that because my dad already agreed with Felipe Souza to come to Brazil. So he's already, I said, man, this is cool. I'm not here to take nobody's place, right? Yeah. And then I like the integrity that he stuck to his word. And this is my integrity that my dad taught me. And Carlos Gracie is also, I connect with. And then Roger, man, when you see Roger fighting, it's the speed way of Mauricio mixed with Carlos Gracie Jr. It's crazy. Then he said, but next week, this like 2 weeks after I arrived, I have a seminar in Birmingham, which we are in London now, and Felipe Souza is coming to London because we moved from Birmingham to UK to London. So they don't have a professors there. So if you want to come with me to the seminar, if they like you, we never know. You might have a place because we're going to be in London. I said, okay, cool. I went to the seminar. They liked me. I stayed here up until today. And through all this, the stories goes, so many kind of the same coincidences goes on and on and on. And those coincidences just was proving me that these choices I was making was the right ones, you know? And I learned a lot. I did so many bad choices too, that I paid for it too, but we all learning, right? So I'm just happy that I took the path, man. Honestly, I'm very happy. I never knew I could get as far as I did. And if I didn't get as far, I'll still be happy because I chose my passion and I chose, and then I use, and that's what I like. I like to use those reference that it's possible, you know? And I mean, and look how crazy is that, Murat? Look, we came as a brown belt, me and Roger, to live here. Basically, we have each other to train, but we didn't train every single day. We train like once a week, twice a week, maximum when there's competition, you know? And as John Dana had said, you know, we were training with blue belts. We were brown. And the blue belts from UK at the time, which is completely different level than the blue belt that was in Brazil, by the way, at the time. Because that was like blue belts and blue belts. Today's more globally the same. But, you know, how can you explain that we became two? I mean, Roger for me is the best ever, you know, but I'm so grateful and proud to be part of that journey, and which we complement each other in a way that, you know, people rate us in their level, you know, and this is, for me, is incredible. It's just like, you know, it shows that if it's all here, if you really have, if you have honesty with yourself, you know, and that's when I start kind of associating with life lessons, you know, and I say, like, if you want to change the world, you need to start with yourself, this kind of stuff, you know, you be honest with yourself, appreciate your flaws, understand your flaws, appreciate your attributes, and try to do things with the good intentions. I think things just goes. And, you know, look what we did in ADCC history, me and Roger, you know, it's just, it's first, our life is so similar. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. When I stop to think, like, it's incredible.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. And it's incredible to see all the things you guys have achieved. It's amazing, and you guys have come up together as well, like you mentioned. Another person who I want to talk to you about, because I know you've trained with him as well, George St. Pierre, and I know you're good friends with him as well, right?
Yeah.
What is he like? Like, what was it like training with him? What's he like as a person? Like, what made him be who he is? Like, one of the greatest ever to do it. Was it his mindset? Was it the way he was in training? What was it, do you think?
But when you are willing to take whatever it takes to carry on doing whatever you're aiming to, you will be successful. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's going to be the grass cutter, you know, or if you're going to be the boomerang cutter, it doesn't matter what it is, you know. And the difference, apart from that, the George St. Pierre, he's a smart guy, and he's very humble, very committed, very athletic. But this is not enough to take, because so many people has all those attributes, right? But it's how he put everything together. It's very unique, you know, which is very similar to how me and Roger also. It's coincidence, and it's very similar, the concept behind all the mind process. George St. Pierre, he used to go, he's not great on anything specifically. If you go to Jiu-Jitsu, he's really good, but it's not great. He's really good in wrestling, but not great. He's really good in karate, but not great. But when you put all together, he's great.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people used to tell me about, brother, who is your idol, or who is the guy that you look up to? I don't have only one. Because if I'm having only one, I'm very limited to that specific person, right? But I learn a lot from many different people. That I learn a lot from the best of everything people. For example, that guy might be very good in the half guard, not good in the top, but I learn from what he's good at, and I'll tick the boxes, and then get from Roger get this, and then from Marcelo Garcia this, and then from Márcio Feitosa this, Flavio Almeida this, my brother this, and then from my students this, from Jacob from this, and I go. So I just keep adding, right? And when I put it together,
that's when you become great.
That's when, because it's not only, I'm not great in each specific situation, but when I put it together, it becomes one. A guard pass cannot be just one. Yeah. A guard pass is a connection of many happening at the same time, like live. In guard too, you cannot just play one kind of guard, you know, and then you need to have answers for become one, right? So that's, I think, what George St. Pierre was, the differential was how he trains himself in the same zone. For example, when he trained wrestling with wrestling rules. He trained jiu-jitsu with the gi in the rules, trained jiu-jitsu no gi in the no gi grappling rules, karate on their rules. And when you go to the wrestling, the same, I already mentioned. So when you go to the jiu-jitsu, and he already have the knowledge on how to do it, and he's just an amazing on how to put it together. You know, it's incredible. And the nicest guy you ever met, you know. Yeah. Funny, man, he's funny.
I've never met him, but I'd love to. Like, he's definitely someone who I look up to as well as yourself, 100%. You know, because obviously you are an instructor as well, Braulio. For example, let's say if someone wants to start jiu-jitsu, what would you recommend that person to progress at a high level? For example, like I spoke to Ash Williams the other day, my head jiu-jitsu coach, and he said the fundamentals are so important when it comes to jiu-jitsu, like focus on the ABCs, because a lot of these people, they want to focus on these crazy moves, you know, but once you get the fundamentals right, that's what will help you progress the fastest. What would you say about that? Like, would you agree with that? How would you? Yeah,
I think, look, I go beyond, because the fundamentals, right? At first, you got to learn the ABC to be able to learn the fundamentals. But what you need to do, even to improve even more, try to understand the why of it. Once you understand the why, ABC, that's when you're going to make the jump. Copying the ABC will teach you jiu-jitsu, but on your average. But if you want to be the next level, you got to be all the time intrigued, asking your question. Ask. Why? Why is good? Why does it work? But why works for him and why it doesn't work for me? Hold on a second, because he's short. Yeah, but I have long gaps. Yeah, but I have more gaps. So you need to shorten more the gaps. So you start to cross-reference. Oh, but you know, the guy is very good because he has a long legs. He gets strong all the time. Not necessarily, because if you have a 2 miles legs, that means that, imagine the gap between when you cross your legs. So it's not about the size, it's how you approach. So the same, when I teach my seminars on the triangle, even a person who cannot lock the triangle can do a triangle just by understanding the concept behind it. Now, everything comes down to get interested to understand the why. If you try, example, right? Nowadays, social media, all this, and you see an influencer doing something that got so many likes. And then someone wants to be an influencer. They start, oh, I'm going to do exactly the same. But you know what I mean? A copy and paste, and it's not the same, you know? When you have a website, you are a website developer. If you want to start a business and you go, okay, there's those templates, and you, oh, I can do a website for you. I make a template. And if you keep just copying a template, you're not necessarily going to be good enough to do your own. Once you start to understand how all the things, all the coding works, then you can take your own imagination, your creativity to a different level instead of try to copy, right? So firstly, you cannot understand the why if you don't know the steps.
Yeah.
But what's going to make you go ahead into a different level is to be always asking yourself why. And you know when you're going to learn that by automatically is when you start sharing. Because when you share, you got to know why. Otherwise, how you cannot share? I just do it because I do it.
Yeah.
You're not sharing. You want to ask the guy ask you a question, but yeah, and so I do that because of, and you go, oh man, that's why. Oh, and then you auto analyze yourself when you're sharing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's come down. Sharing is giving back. Yeah. And then the person who is being shared with, if he appreciates, he will start passing it on to you and give him, and then everyone learn and everyone improve, and then the level goes up in the whole academy, because just one sharing, just that person will go better. If you don't appreciate and give back, like because I know the same way, Murad, that when you look now, you see the tip of the iceberg. See Braulio Estima, the Gracie Barra here, Victor, Roger, blah blah blah. So many. The academy is so beautiful. Man, when it started, it wasn't like that. I remember training in a place that was in the winter was like 1 degree inside of the mat. Like it has the sweat, not sweat, but the humidity was frozen on the mat. Sometimes there was like ice on the mat. So, there was a lot of things that went through it. So it takes a lot to get where we got here. But my main point is you got to appreciate and try to give as much possible back. And therefore, the snowball of positivity grows. And then you see, So yeah, ask question, ask yourself. And if you try to teach people, help, not teach, because sometimes you say teach people that from you're a blue belt, you start fully, it's not like that. If you're a blue belt, share, help, go with the intention to help. By helping is a good deed too.
100%.
And then you share, you improve, and you learn more. The person that's sharing with, they improve, and they're gonna be better with you, and then everyone goes up. That's the secret.
Oh, 100%. Like you said, the more you give, the more you get back. And another thing you mentioned there when you started, it's not what it was like it is now. And the thing that you need to focus on is discipline. You got to stick at it, right? You got to just keep going, keep doing it. Rough days. You must have had so many rough days with injuries and stuff like that, and you just kept going, right? And hard work, discipline, stick at it, provide value. Those are the key things, I think, that makes someone uncommon like yourself. 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Persistence, and don't expect that's going to be easy. And you don't even need to be thinking about the results. All you need to do is be willing to just keep going. And Murat, everything in this life that comes fast goes fast.
So true. Yeah.
And then if if you're patient, patience is a very biggest virtue.
Mm.
You know, it's very easy for me to say now, but I wasn't very patient. I want to be good now. I want to be strong now. But that's when I learned. I learned a lot through jiu-jitsu about being patient. And being a father, it was, you know, the best test for me for patience. And I know today how patient I am, and jiu-jitsu helped me, you know, because I remember the first time I want the first lesson of expectations. I was in a white belt, 3 or 4 stripes, and then there was this workshop where people get grade. At the time, people didn't have belts on the academies. You need to have your own, buy your own, right? So we didn't used to get belts, like have a belt. Now belt is available. Where I was from, there was no even belt. So I was expecting that I was going to get my blue belt because I was doing well on my team, you know. So I said, I bought my belt, and I put in my bag, went to the seminar, finished the seminar. I don't even remember what the seminar was about. All I was thinking about, I'm going to get the blue belt today. Got there in the seminar. The coach didn't give no belt. I passed in front of him to see, hey, how you doing, coach? Just in case if he didn't see me. He said, hey, how you doing? I'll see you tomorrow. I said, you what? You know, I go home, I cry. First time in 8 months, since I started training jiu-jitsu, in 8 months, I never missed a training session. So I went back home, showered, cried, throw the belt, my gi, hate this, whatever. 3 days I didn't go train for the first time. I didn't go train jiu-jitsu, but then it took to process 3 days. Then I go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to train now. And from now on, I will train and I'm not going to expect no belt. All I want to go there is train. And that's it. I made my decision and I put that conclusion to myself. And then since then, I learned a lot on how to be patient, how to don't raise expectations, that is, but not unrealistic. You need to, you know, don't expect something that if it doesn't happen, you feel bad about. Expect up until the point that if it doesn't happen, move on. Doesn't going to bother you or affect your lifestyle. So that's how I learned that, because it got me down. And that was the first lesson. So that's the thing. It's all about it. When it's slow, but when you understand, you start enjoying more and more. And then all the phases in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu are so exciting. You know, when you search in the first submission, it's as exciting as me searching a new grip that will make the guy puzzled. It's the same. It's just in a different stages, and then it's amazing. And that's what you mentioned about. They already mentioned about that. Sometimes people tend to go focus on the funky or the tricks or the shortcuts in fighting because they get a quicker reward. As I go white belt to start doing berimbolo, blah, 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 and I go to a competition, win the berimbolo. And then if you don't have the base, if you don't know the whys of everything, when the berimbolo doesn't work, you go down and then you lose motivation because you want the high, because you are winning. And suddenly you go, oh, it's not that easy when you go there. And those people who are slowly learning the basics and understand the concepts, understand the reason whys of things, when they fight for the right jiu-jitsu way, you're never going to even be able to start the berimbolo if you know what you're doing. Then you go, oh, and then now you're back in the drawing board. And some people, when they go high too soon, they're not prepared to go back to the drawing board. They start working hard again because he had too easy. And that's another, it's the same lessons, you know, the same thing in life. Everything comes fast, goes fast. Jiu-jitsu is truthful, is real. You know, you put on the test every day. You cannot hide. Is on the mats is or is not. And it's not, if you go train with someone that knows jiu-jitsu, it doesn't matter if he's tired, doesn't matter if he hasn't trained for so many years, he knows it will be. You can see, you know, but to be able to know that much, you need to put time into it. Like in anything, you put the flying hours to be able to be a very good pilot. You cannot just study for 45 years on a book and then go fly. You know, so many things goes that you only want to be able to realize through experiences by understanding the why of everything.
Yeah, 100%. Wow, that's incredible. I think a lot of people need to hear that, because some people, they go to jiu-jitsu, they just keep going, and they just stay in the same line. But then there's other people that go and they go up and down, and then they go up. So that's important to definitely to think about the why all the time when you're rolling. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why are they doing this? Yeah, 100%. That's amazing. Just two more.
One thing.
Yeah, sorry, carry on. No, go ahead.
No, one thing as well that made me learn as well was I try to learn. Like it comes back down to what Carlos Gracie Jr. always said. There's no losing in jiu-jitsu. Either you win or you learn. How, and I didn't hear that phrase until I did the ICP for the first time 10 years ago, right? I have 25 years in jiu-jitsu, so that's 15 years on I never heard. But when I was a blue belt, I had learned so much from my losses. And I took the conclusion that I was getting better every time. I lost first in the IBJJF tournament during 2 years. I lost the first fight during 4 tournaments in a 2 years gap. Right? It's not that I always had it. It's not like that, you know? And I remember training people like Roger, people like, you know, tough guys training with me. And I get in a situation that, oh man, I hate this position. I'm horrible. Jesus, it's horrible. Yeah. Oh man, what is he doing here? I try to save it. So next time I want to feel being the other guy, not me. Yeah. I want to make the other person to feel how I'm feeling because there's something good about this that he's doing that I'm not doing, that I'm stuck. So I learn a lot being on the other side of the coin. And sometimes if I don't remember what happened, I used to call the guy that I was training. Excuse me, sir, you got me in the situation here. How did you, what did you try to, what did you try to do? Yeah. And then I said, oh, because of this. I said, oh, okay, I got it. Tick. I learned loads like that. Loads, not only a little bit. Probably the most biggest lessons was like that. Because the professor can only see so far. Let's look how many students on the mats. Yeah. The most time that I learned, the most was sharing and asking.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. Every time when Chris Reese or Ash Williams, they say, does anyone have a question? And it's always the higher level belts. It's always the black belts that say, yeah, how did that happen? How did that happen? But you expect all the white belts to ask the questions, right? And yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And what you said there about winning and learning is incredible, because I spoke to a Navy SEAL the other day, Ray Kashkar, and he said to me, he went like this to me and he went like this. And he said, what does this mean? And I said, win. And he said, what does this mean? And I said, lose. And he's like, he said, no, this is learn. This means learn. Because a lot of people, they think you either win or you lose, but you mentioned that you learn. Yeah, 100%.
You learn all the time. It's all about how you take.
Yeah.
You know, if you're focused on the negative, you're going to lose. You see the L, like not the L, because the L is a shape, right? But when you do lose, you go, oh man, I lost. If you focus on the negative. But if you're winning, if you want to improve, you take the loss and you never, whatever you made you lose, you try to fix and never do it again.
Yeah.
And then you learn.
Definitely, yeah. Just 2 more questions now before I let you go, Braulio. I know that, you know, you are a busy guy. What are your goals at the moment then? Like, what are your ambitions and goals for your academy, for yourself?
Look, I found kind of my purpose, you know, is being very highlighting in front of me in many different ways, you know, talking to people, you know. I'm a guy that I don't like, I don't really dwell on the past, even if the past it was a good thing. All I think about was next. That's always been like that. But conversation like that in the past few years with the social media, internet, a lot of podcasts, I started talking about what I did. And I started realizing, hold on a second, man, this can be a good success story that we can share to motivate other people, you know. And one of my main purpose, you know, is try to make a world a better place by doing what I did. Is really following what Master Carlos Gracie said. You know, if everyone did jiu-jitsu in the world would be a much better place to live. And I truly believe that. And that's what I'm standing for. You know, in my academy, you know, my professor, my master who gave me my black belt, he gave me purple, brown, and black, and all my grades was Carlos Gracie Jr., which is the son of Master Carlos Gracie Sr. And he has the same mentality, the same vision. And if you see, how much the jiu-jitsu has been spreading around the world. And Gracie Barra is the biggest academy in the whole world. We have 900 schools around the world. And I became the head professor of the Gracie Barra Global. And so the lineage of the Gracie Barra Global, or the GB Online, the Gracie Barra Online, is Master Carlos Gracie Sr., Master Carlos Gracie Jr., and me. Wow. That kid that came from the Northeast, completely detached from Rio, that was seen by Master Carlos Gracie Jr., at the time professor. Hey, there's something about you. Carry on. And I follow the steps. I get emotional. And I'm here. It's gotta be my purpose, man. You know. Yeah. And then I'm using that to spread that beauty, what jiu-jitsu can do, to help people, to give purpose to people, to help people to become a better version of themselves. That's all you can do. All you can do is on your control, is to become a better version of yourself. There's nothing else you can do in life, you know. And if you lose, you can always, only you can feel sad for the loss, or feel sad, or try to be, okay, I lost, but I learned, you know. Only you that can see, oh, lockdown, it's terrible, I cannot go abroad. But only you can appreciate the sunshine that it has when that is here in UK, you know. It's only you can decide, feel sorry for not traveling, or take advantage of what you got and be happy with what you got. And this lockdown was an amazing awakening for everyone, because we understood that's not only one thing that's going to make you happy, but because want is one thing, need is a completely different thing. But people tend to change the need for the want just because of the sake that they want, but not necessarily do you really need it? You know, I need a holiday. Do you? You know, you have a time. We all need the time off for sure. But if you are happy here, you wouldn't be happier in the moon just because the happiest you can get is as happy as you can get. People choose people around you, appreciate a lot of people around, socializing, how important. That's what you understand as well in jiu-jitsu, you know, having people around, how important it is for your life, for your own growth, is socializing. By sharing, right? Remember, sharing made you improve your jiu-jitsu. By socializing, by talking, by exchange experiences, help people grow. And the first thing, when Master Carlos told my brother, and my brother shared with me, you know, this story is very cool. First, he said, look, Victor, go make a success story with your own academy. So people see it's possible. Then help someone else to do the same. Then help that one to help someone else, and pass the ball, and the balls keep rolling, right? And that's how it is. You know, I'm trying to help. Through my career, I became successful because of all the reasons why we spoke. And I try to help people now be successful, and I wanted them to help them others. And then this is in everything. So as a responsibility of the Gracie Barra online head professor, you know, my focus now is to make sure to help through jiu-jitsu as a tool to make everyone improve, become a better version of themselves in every aspect.
It's incredible, honestly. It's amazing. Like just listening to you is so inspirational. It really is. I feel like everyone should hear your story. You know, you should go on, like Joe Rogan should like have you on, because, like, you know, he has loads of watchers, and, you know, just get your story out there as well. No, it's incredible. And the thing is, you're still young, right? I know it's your birthday in 2 days. Happy birthday for them. Yeah. But yeah, like, you're still young. Like, you can do this for the rest of your life. You can help so many people through what you're doing, and it's just incredible to hear. Yeah, but you've earned it.
Rogan, we'll see that on time. He's I know him. He's a good guy, funny man. You know, actually, he's sending me. I have a neck. You know, I had a neck injury. That one day we can talk about that, which is another inspirational story. But he's sending me a iron neck, which is for exercise for the neck.
Yeah.
So hopefully next time I'm in Austin, we're gonna catch up and we spread this to the world. But it's inevitable, Murat. It's gonna happen sooner or later, because, you know, as you can see, it's genuine, and people need to hear the stories. And then not because I'm special, because I'm far from it. I just had the click earlier in life. You know, it's like, you know, the popcorn they make, you know, sometimes the grains come from the same part of the corn, right? But the cob, but they pop completely different times, right? So I'm trying to like to throw oil out there and put a little bit of heat to people to kind of pop. And then whoever wants to, you know, see it will pop on the right time. So when the time is right, we'll come. And I'm just happy to be here, talking to you, sharing with you. And you can, I like the way that you see the story, that you appreciate. And that's it, step at a time. And we're making a good positive. Whoever want to watch this is going to think, man, you know what? This Murat is a cool dude. This Braulio has some story to share. And maybe we for sure, we're going to make a positive impact on their lives, whoever is watching, even if it's one person.
Yeah, even if it's just one. That's the thing. Yeah, this is why I started the podcast, is to provide value for other people, is to listen, for people to listen to people like you, your story, to get them, you know, a bit inspired, even if it's just one person. But yeah, 100%. Just one more question now, Braulio, before I let you go. I know you fought so many people, right? You fought Marcelo Garcia, Andre Galvao, you know, Sanjay Ribeiro. You fought them all, right? Who's been one person that you thought, like, this guy is just on a different level? Is there any one person that stands out for you?
Yeah, for sure. Carcará was the hardest one I'd ever faced. You know, I was, funny enough, I was speaking to Roger just last weekend. I was visiting him, and we were talking about this conversation came about, and he says the same. Carcará was his hardest, you know, and yeah, Carcará was definitely the hardest. And then my biggest achievement was when I managed to fight him at 2011, you know, which this is another crazy story, you know, like my neck, it's crazy, man. I'll just try to be very fast here, but basically I fought Carcará 4 times and I lost every 4 times, and I not even scored 1 point on him ever. I lost by submission, by points. And then I didn't have the opportunity to fight him in a while. Then I became a world champion at the first competition that I ever fought at the World Championships at 2004 as black belt. First tournament as first World Championship as black belt. I was a world champion, but Carcará wasn't there. So I was, but am I? Carcará is not here. The second time, he was there. I got second. I said, oh, maybe so I'm not. You know? Do you understand what I'm saying? And then later I won a few more times, and he wasn't there, but always that rock on. I said, oh man, when am I gonna fight? Maybe I'm never gonna be able to find out if I actually could or not. You know, now I'm an adult, you know, I always felt that I was a little bit weaker than him. And then it's crazy how thing goes, bro. That's when I won the ADCC, beating I thought Marcelo Garcia, Xande, Andre Galvão, Lovato with the first Estima lock ever, inverted triangle on. So it's amazing, right? And then I got the spot to fight the super fight. On that camp for this 2009, the first training, in 2009, look how it works. If you fight if you win the absolute of the current year, you're gonna, in 2 years' time, you're gonna fight the winner of the super fight of the current year. So winner of the super fight faces the winner of the absolute 2 years later. Roger was down to fight Drysdale on the same time that I won the absolute, right? So there would be a possibility that if Roger wins the super fight, I fight Roger in 2 years' time. We train together, we train partners. So on the first day of camp, again for the ADCC, he was training for Drysdale and I was training for the ADCC. First training, Roger hurt himself. He already had the knee a little sore, bad. So I went to a double leg, he's pro wrong, you know, and then we kind of scrambled and he twisted his knee. So he had to pull out of the ADCC 2009. Guess who he's replaced with? Carcará. I said, is he? No. Is there a chance? No chance. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. Focus on 2009. Let's focus on my bishop. Boom, boom. One weight in absolute. Carcará goes and wins it. We're supposed to meet. It's a fate. And then I go, all right. Cool. Let's focus. 2010. I started training MMA because a lot of people, you know, you win the absolute. People, next stage is MMA, right?
Mm.
And then I hurt my neck, right? I felt my head. I got tetraplegic for you know, for a while. And, you know, I had to do surgery 6 months later. A lot of, all the doctors that was, it's like, no, never fight again. Forget about it. And then I found this doctor that because my problem was I had 2 discs, you know, and if it was 1 disc, it would be okay. But 2 discs was it had to be, is very unique. And then, but that was this technology. The guy put a rugby player, the doctor put a rugby player back into the league. I said, okay, so I like you a lot. So what's the plan? He goes, look, brother, you need 4 months, no training, right? That's all. And then after 4 months, you can do whatever you want. I go, make the calculation. So I did the surgery exactly 8 months before the fight against Carcará. So basically, I had 4 months from the surgery to recover from the surgery. And then I had 4 months to get back in shape and be as good as I could ever be to beat someone that I never even scored a point ever in my life. 30 meters battle. I managed to beat Carcará after all that. So that proof is all here because I have lost in the same reason, because I wasn't so focused or so, you know, with the drive so much, you know. So really in the end of the day comes down to how much you really want to really, you know. And that was it, you know. So Carcará was my toughest one ever. And I'm just fortunate that I managed to at least get one out of it.
That's crazy. Like, you had every excuse to not even fight him, because you could have been afraid and been like, I've never beat this guy. I've never even scored any points on him. I'm not going to fight him. You know, I've got a bad neck. I'm not going to fight him. But your story is just incredible, honestly. You are such an incredible person. No, honestly, thank you so much, Braulio. What I'll do, guys, I'll leave all of Braulio's social media down below. Go and check him out. Go and check all his instructionals out as well. I'll leave all them down below as well. But yeah, thank you so much, Braulio. I feel like I definitely need to speak to you again, because you're just full of value, and I can't wait to actually meet you in person soon, hopefully. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Likewise, Murat. I'm really happy that this conversation happened. You're a very cool guy, somewhat related as well to my lineage. And we definitely need for sure to catch up. Thank you very much. And see you next time.